everybody. So while I was praying this morning, yes, I do pray in the morning, but it's part of my gratitude exercise. So it's not a formalized, I'm trying to figure out how bad is the makeup under my eyes this morning. It's not formal prayer. It's me talking to God and the universe, and it's a great way to start your day. I highly recommend having a conversation with God, the universe, a higher power, your inner self, or something first thing in the morning. It could be part of your gratitude practice, which is kind of what it is for me. I start off by being, grateful, sincerely grateful, and kind of listing the things I'm grateful for and why I'm grateful for them, and then that sort of just leads into a whole conversation. And so I'm going to turn 50 in about a month and a half. And now I'm actually really excited about this. And I keep mentioning it because I'm so excited about it. And I was just sort of thinking about, this year, which actually was my 50th year on the planet. Because when you turn 50, that means you've been alive for 50 years. So this has been my 50th year on the planet. And I've been doing a lot of, as you know, this channel happened, and there's been a lot of soul searching, and there's been some crying, and there's been some joyful revelations. And in my last video I talked about realizing that one of the things that I wanted to feel is fierce, and that I had always sort of been afraid to be fierce. And but I realized that as I'm this turning 50 and this decade that's coming up, my 40s were, it's like each decade of my life has been dominated by something, so for the first decade of my life was dominated by, being a child. And there were some difficulties in that, being at home. And then the second decade of my life, from 10 to 20, it was just a lot of, and I think for all of us, that's a rough decade, from age 10 to age 20. Oh my gosh, that is brutal. And everything that goes with it, adolescence, and trying to start dating and figuring out, you think you're figuring out who you are. You have no clue. You're not even close. Making a bunch of mistakes and just, so adolescence. Then from age 20 to 30 was me stumbling through life, making just one really stupid mistake after another. And then it ended in, oh, that's strange. I just watched some electrical stuff just turn off over there across the room. But it ended in a sort of God hitting the reboot button on my life. And we'll talk about that in a video, because that's not what this video is about. But there was a pretty big tragedy that happened in my life when I was 27 and about to turn 28. And it really did, it was like a hard reboot on your phone or on your computer, a forced reboot. And it changed my life. And it honestly changed my life for the better. But sometimes for me, changing my life for the better requires massive tragedy. And then my 30s were really dominated by starting to figure out who I was career-wise, meeting Bill, getting married, doing a lot of really interesting and fulfilling volunteer work, and then towards the end of my 30s, becoming a mom. And then so my 40s were going to be dominated by being a working mom, and because I went back to work when Gracie was 3. But as it turns out, my 40s became dominated by one of the fights of my life against multiple sclerosis. And so that led down a completely different path. So like the 40s were kind of like the mommy MS YouTube years. That decade was just crazy. This past decade has been just crazy, but wow, crazy good, crazy transformational. And so my friend Robin, you know, Miss Robin, she turned 40. So she's 41 now. She's turned 40 a year ago. And she's a huge Star Wars fan. And she came up with a slogan for her year of, you know, for her decade, but going into the 40s, she's the 40s awaken. And she's like, you need to come up with a tagline for your 50s. And, you know, and I'm like, I was really struggling with it. And then this morning, as I was praying, you're like, where is this conversation going? It is looping back to this prayer this morning and this realization. As I was praying this morning, and I was talking about my core desired feelings, which are to be, I like to feel open, alive, free, vital, and fierce, right? That last one. And I was laughing because that last one kind of still cracks me up. It's like me, fierce, but I am feeling it bubble up. It's happening. Because once you know how you want to feel, you start putting things in motion to get to those feelings. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be fierce at 50. Yeah, the fierce 50s, right? And I was joking with God, and then I was like, no, really? I mean, it's not the greatest tagline in the world, the fierce 50s, but it's like, I really do want that. And I said, I feel like, you know, I'm ready to sort of, to really claim my place, to really put my mark on the world. And then I said, you know, this is the decade where the world hears me roar. And when I said that, by the way, I do pray out loud. When I said that, I started to cry. And for me, that involuntary crying is always a sign that something is true and real. And I got so excited. This is it. This is the decade that the world hears me roar. This is where it all starts to come together. And instead of kind of, it's not like I've always been in the background, but God, I've never been in the background, honestly. And people have heard me, but they've never heard me roar. And I don't mean roar in like I'm gonna be ranting and raving and yelling. I mean roar in the sense of the way a lion roars. When a lion roars, to me, when they're just sort of sitting there and they just roar, or like when Merida goes, which she does, she roars, and it's very cute. It's because they know who they are, and they know their strength, and they have something to say, and they're going to get your attention, and you're going to listen to them because they have something important to say. And that's what I mean by roar. You're gonna, oh gosh, that's a Katy Perry song, You're Gonna Hear Me Roar. But yeah. Oh, I Am Woman, Hear Me Roar happens to be one of my favorite songs of all time. Another song I cry through. Yeah, so get ready to hear me roar. I am excited. I am excited. All of these 50 years of 5 decades, 50 years of everything is coming together finally. And I've got something to say, and I'm gonna make sure the world hears me. And you know what? You have stuff to say, no matter how old you are. The thing is that I'm just finally realizing that I have valuable things to say, and that I will make the world listen to me. you need to do the same thing. You're like, I'm not supposed to need, don't tell me to should, don't should on me. Don't wait until you're 50, but if you're past 50 and you still haven't done it, it's okay. Find your roar. Find your fierce, find your pride, find your voice, and get out there, get it out there, get your thoughts out there, get your feelings, get your visions, go after whatever it is, whatever that dream is, whatever that want is, that desire, whatever your passion is. Don't wait until you're 50 to go for it. I never went for it. I would always sort of partially go for, like in my 20s, I kind of sort of maybe, and in my 30s, I dabbled, but let fear hold me back. And in my 40s, I got sidetracked by thinking, well, I'm really good at this corporate America thing. I'm going to be a VP. And I was on my way. And then, you know, God just boom, 2x4 and was like, oh no, corporate America is not it. MS, whoa! Gotta get her out of this game before it goes too far, before she loses her soul. And then I was like, YouTube, yes! And this is it. And I think YouTube will always be a component of it, but YouTube wasn't it. It's so much bigger than that. And it's always been around the speaking and the talking and the writing and whatever yours is about. If it's art, if it's acting, if it's singing, if it's volunteering, if it's teaching, if it's going off and living in the woods, if it's cooking and baking, starting a cupcake shop, opening a restaurant, becoming a cook, cleaning houses, you know, being a construction worker because you just like want to like build stuff. Whatever it is, whatever lights your fire, fuels you, whatever your passion is, just go for it. Just go. Nothing bad's gonna happen if you go for it. The worst thing that could happen is it doesn't work out. But at least you know you tried. But you gotta give it your all. You can't dabble. Dabble doesn't work. Dabbling does nothing. Dabbling is poop. Anybody who's ever lived their dream, I hate to say be successful, but be successful in my terms of success, which is to achieve the feelings and the what you were trying to do. Anybody who's ever done that has just had to go for it. You just go for it, and even the people that don't make it, they had that experience of going for it. It's the journey, not the destination. And you'll always know, you'll know that surge of just going for it. And I'm gonna promise you right now, you may not achieve what you thought you wanted, but if you go all out and go for your dream, chase your passion, just roar, okay? You're gonna end up someplace awesome. Someone awesome, someplace awesome, and you're gonna feel so awesome about yourself. It's never gonna be what you expected. I have no idea 10 years from now when I'm sitting in front of my holographic camera with my flying car in my silver jumpsuit. I have no idea what I'm gonna be sitting here talking about. But I know that I am going to feel awesome. I am going to feel fierce and free and vital and alive and open. And it's going to be great. I know that. And I know. If you just do it now, don't wait until you're 50. If you just go for it now, figure out how you want to feel and go for it now, you are going to end up someplace awesome. And 10 years from now, we're all just gonna be in our silver jumpsuits and our flying cars, having a big old party together. Just do it. I sound like a Nike commercial. But I'm serious, okay? You're gonna hear me roar, and I wanna hear you roar. Tell me what do you want? How do you wanna feel? Let's talk about it. Let's do it, man. All right? I gotta go make pancakes. You're gonna be roaring pancakes. Love you. Bye.